Join me as we make one of these, a sanding brush for the sander that we made in the last video. This is the drum that I've just taken off my drum sander. As you can see, it's got a bit bald. There's a reason for that. That's because I used this sort of sandpaper, which is it's quite good stuff. However, it's paper backed or thin card backed, and it can't cope with the flexing, so it gets to a point where it just falls to pieces. I'll give you a quick close up of that. You can see that it can't quite cope with the flexing. So let me dismantle that. Right, laser cut ring that just keeps these brushes retained. The brushes, if I can get one out, are held in place with 6mm pieces of round bar. Ooh. Oops. That's better. Right, just that piece. Pliers. There we go. There we have it. It's a simple drum. It is 18 centimeters in diameter, so that it matches commercially available drums. There are 36 positions for sanding brushes. I mean, technically this is actually the way I'm putting this together, it's a flap sander with flap discs. However, there are, and I'll see if I can put drop an image in, there are versions of these with brushes in, and the brushes push the paper into the work, so they sit behind, and as the thing rotates they push the sandpaper into the work and give it pressure. But the sandpaper they use is single-sided, so what I've done here is I've made this double-sided, which makes it considerably stiffer, so I get a similar effect without the cost of the brushes. So this is made up of, if I can remember, 8 layers of 12mm ply and 2 4mm pieces on the top, which on the top and bottom, which I laser cut those, and I CNC routed the intermediate pieces. However, you don't need to do that if you're prepared to spend the time, and I'm lazy, so I'm not. You could make yourself a jig, mark the first one out and make it quite accurate, and then use that as a template to drill all the others, stack them all together, glue them all together, and then just open up the gap between the with a hacksaw and a file. And indeed, when I made my test piece, which has long since gone, when I tried the idea out, that's exactly what I did. I didn't have anywhere near so many stations. This is, I think I've said this has got 36, I think, and it's designed really as a proof of concept. Does the thing work? It works absolutely fabulously. It really does denib work that comes off my CNC router really well. So there we have that. I will put up a little, hopefully a picture of the CAD drawing that I made of it, which then I derived the CNC cutting path, and hopefully a little bit of footage of it being laser cut and CNC routed. I think it was a 4mm cutter I used. It might have been a 3mm cutter actually. If you make them yourself, you make whatever thickness you like. This one is just over, it's 104mm it's come out at, which is ideal for the sandpaper I used, which comes in 100mm rolls, 100mm wide. That's 4" in imperial. If you wanted to use paper that's readily available in hardware stores, it's 115mm. What's that in? 4.5 inches, and so you would make it just a little bit deeper. However, 100mm suits me, and this particular paper, being card backed and paper backed, isn't really good enough. As you can see, it just fatigues. So I'm going to try this stuff. This was pretty expensive. I think some of the most expensive sandpaper I've ever bought. However, it's from a company called Hermes. Whoops. And it's 120 grade. I find with automated and powered sanders that you actually need to, if you're doing this by hand, you would denibbing and rounding off corners by hand, I would use a finer paper, but with a machine it seems that coarser is better. I don't know why. Anyway, this is RB406 jflex, as you can probably see, and it's cloth backed, which means that it's much more durable as a sanding paper. So I should have enough here to fill this, and what I do is measure the piece I've got, flap it over, draw a line. I'll make that a square line. Cut that out, fold it in half with some glue between them, leaving a little bit of a gap at the top so you can get your 6mm rod in. Right, so here we are. There's 18 pieces of emery paper ready for gluing up, and another 18 there, so that's all done and dusted. So next is gluing it up, and here we go. Very cheap PVA. This is a very bloody tedious job. after 40 minutes of messing around with glue, clamps, pegs, I've come to the conclusion that there's an easy way of doing it, and this strikes me as being the easiest option. Get your piece of paper. I've made 2 or 3 of these before and I had no trouble whatsoever with folding the paper in half and sticking it, but this stuff is just really good and really difficult. So we've got a hot snot gun, folded it in half, slip the hot snot gun into the end, run it through to the other end, give it a few seconds to cool, and Bob's your auntie. Job jobbed. I have, 3 piles of 12. So the next step is to split them. So I'm going to cut there, there and there in that pile. There and there in that pile. And that sort of arrangement in that pile, so that we'll have different sizes of fingers. So let me get on with that. This is murder on your knife blades. There we go. You can see the sort of arrangement. Okay, I've cut up all of these fingers in and all the sanding flat pieces. There's 12 in each pile. I've cut 12 pins to go in each thingy. So nothing left to do but start to load the drum. I remember this being a bit of a pain, the first one I made. There we go. There we go. Right. Last thing to do is to put a what do you call that? A ring, a washer, top and bottom, screwed on, because these pins will walk out over time, and then there'll be a crash, an almighty bang, and something will break or someone will get hurt. So one of those top and bottom will retain the pins, and there we are. I'll drop a little shot of this particular one in action down in the factory, and we'll see what you think about it. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this sort of rubbish, and please subscribe and hit the little old notification bell, and we'll see you next time. Ta-da!